Okay guys, so this is going to be a mobile guide to Tombs of Amascut. This is only entry level, but I'm going to show you the setup that I've got here. So I'm using full crystal, I've got a Zami Hasta, I've got an Avernic, but I'm also using the melee setup, which you can get rid of the bandos if you haven't got any. Quite a few of my kills I just did with mage and range, and I just took the Hasta and everything. You don't need the bandos really, it's just a nice quality of life upgrade. So this is 50 easy invocations. If you're struggling, if you use this setup, it makes Crondis a little bit harder, but you won't have any, like, a limit to your lives. You can just keep dying and trying it out, and there's no limit on food or anything, so it'll be an easy way to start for you. But I'm just showing you now, there's different things you can do if you'd rather have Apmeken be difficult. I'm going to use hardcore run for this because I know I'm not going to die, and just put a couple things on to make it up to 50. Doesn't really matter what. Just showing you here, you can use all manner of different combinations with whatever boss you find easiest. And yeah, just experiment, see what you like. Certain things like aerial assault makes Kephri quite a bit more difficult, and more overlords you have to be good at trapping, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. Before you turn that on, I wouldn't recommend turning more overlords on right at the beginning, because you're going to have a bad time. Just get a bit more experience with the trapping, which I'll show you. So I'm just pre-potting with an angler. I've got energy pots, not energy pot, stamina pot, and then range and super combat, 1 dose. And I'm going to start on Scabaras. Sorry, I'm a little bit ill as well, so I'm sorry if I'm a little bit snuffly. So yeah. Just showing you the 4 paths. If you've not been in here before, this is the Atrium.
That is one big pile of shit.
So the puzzle room for Scabaras is quite fun, really. So there's 4 different puzzles, plus the 5th and final. When you're in solos like this, you'll only have to do 2. So when you do 1 puzzle, then cross the map onto the other side, which I'll show you how to do. So I'm choosing this route. I like to do the puzzles that you've got quick guides for, which I'll show you in a minute. So this route takes you onto one of those sides. This puzzle's a particular dick. I don't really like this one. I'm not going to take out any of my fails. I'm going to show you how easy it is to just forget what you were doing on this puzzle. And after this, I'm going to show you a more clean run. And on that, I'm going to show you some pathing as well that will help you with this particular puzzle. So this one, you can see there, if you get it wrong in any way, you just get hit. But if you play range, the scarab can't hurt you. Just take your time with it, and then remember what you're doing. If you've got a notepad, just write it down or something. Whatever makes it easier for you. But I got this wrong like 3 times on this particular run, just probably because I was filming. So in this puzzle, you've just got to follow the lights in the exact order that it says, but you see there, I pressed badly, so I clicked on one, and the normal route that it would have taken walked over one of the other tiles. So I'll show you how to combat that in a minute, because last thing you want to do is activate one accidentally and just ruin the whole puzzle. So you can see, you can walk diagonally and that's safe, but there are other ways to pass the tiles as well, which I'll show you just after I finish this one. There you go. So this is a more clean run now. I'm going to show you, so if you've got your run on, and you stand on one tile, you can skip a middle tile by clicking on the 3rd tile. So you saw me do it there. You know what I mean? So that middle tile would not have registered as a click. You can do that for anything. You can do it for poisons. Anything that you really don't want to be getting caught out for, basically. So this puzzle is lovely. If you just go on the wiki, there you go, that's all of the answers. So you click on the little statue thing right at the beginning, it tells you what number you need to do, follow the path on the wiki, and boom, you're done. Don't even need to worry about any of the rest of it, it's dead easy. So this puzzle, I'm going to show you on a different run because it only lets you do so many on solos. So this is all of the souls. Whatever's yellow and flashing, you need to stand on the red tiles in any order based on that shape. So my yellow one is in the top corner, so I'm following the pattern of the red squares to stand on. That was the answer to that, which is also on the wiki. Simple as that. Easy solve. Then the final one, depending on if you've got a nice long range weapon like the Gopher, it's dead easy. You just stand exactly where I'm standing on the steps. And then you can just spam the pillars until you solve the puzzle basically. If you're standing any closer, I'd just, every time you fail and the rocks come down, take 2 steps diagonally and you'll most likely miss the boulders. But if you stand in this spot, they're not going to hit you, and you pray range. The scab's not going to hit you, you can just solve the puzzle and leave. Dead easy. So now, the final puzzle is just a memory game, basically. If you're in duos, there's more to remember, but in solos, there's only, at least in easy mode, there's only these 5 you have to do. So what I do is on the left, I remember the order. So, W knife star diamond boot, and I just keep saying W knife star diamond boot, figure out what order I need to click on the tiles on the opposite side to match that order. W knife star diamond boot, W knife star diamond boot, there you go, W knife star, and then south is diamond, top is boot, that's the order I have to run in, and I just work it that way basically. It's much easier than running across constantly trying to figure things out. You're not going to do a lot of running in the next room, so you don't have to use a stamina dose here if you don't want to. I do sometimes, just because you're going to end up with stamina left at the end if you don't use it, but you can get away with just letting your stamina run. There you go, simple as that. Now it's time for Kephri. I really like this boss, it's nice and easy. If you've got any of the gems, I've used them in your Keris Partisan, and it will make this fight dead easy, it just melts them like butter. But the Zami Hasta's just as good. Any stab weapon that you've got really, it's just, you just want to bust it out and kick his ass. I've got claws, but I managed to get a fan drop, so I've just upgraded, but if I haven't got claws it's fine, just use a dragon dagger. On his 3rd fireball, he always puts the flyers on you. So you see there, I was in the southeast corner of Kephri's box he's standing on, basically. And that's important. You want to start on that corner, southeast, and then you've got to run north when the tree starts falling down, basically. And then watch your character. So I'm doing the diamond fighting style here. You can hit these little poo things on the floor. You know they're not going to explode. I always pray range at the beginning until I've killed this one. In this phase, you're going to get random mobs flying at you. So Kephri's downed. You know these mobs are going to fly at you. If there's a shadow on the floor at any point in the fight with Kephri, just move. Always keep on the move. And then I personally don't bother in solos trying to kill the little swarms of scarabs, but you can do, but it doesn't really help you in solos. It's only really important in the group thing to try and stop them from healing. So now, second part of the fight. When the mobs spawn again, I know that there's the meleeer, and then it's going to be the major, which you really want to focus on because they can do a lot of damage to you. So if you keep walking in this diamond pattern and attacking like I do, you know you're not going to get hit by any of Kephri's bombs. You can see I've got the flyers on me now, so I'm going to the northeastern corner and then run west. And there you go. That's created a trap. And whenever the meleeer spawns now, they can't get out of that box. So you don't have to worry about praying melee. You don't even have to kill them if you don't want to, but I will do just for the crack. But so now you can just focus on shooting the major. Don't let them charge their attack up. The major's done. The trap box that I've built there is really important if you've got more overlords on, because you're going to start getting spammed. You're going to have multiple meleeers, multiple rangers coming at you, and you can't pray against everything. So if you've got all the meleeers trapped in there, you can pray against range, and then you can focus on the major. When the major's dead, focus on the ranger, and then deal with the meleeers. Dead easy. Now we're just the little tiny things that are hitting you as well. If they range, they won't hit you at all. You can deal with them if you've got blood barrage. Sometimes they pile up and you can get a bit of health from them, or you can shoot them. But if you try to run towards them, they'll back right off. So I wouldn't worry about doing that. So yeah, just keep doing this diamond pattern, and know that on this phase we've killed the major. So the second his health runs low now, you're going to be where it's standing there, as close to the poo pile as you possibly can be. That's important because the second his health runs low and his shields are gone, and he's onto his actual health bar, he puts flies on you, drops the shit on you, and you can get trapped. This phase is exactly the same as any of the others. Just make a switch out and you're done. Fight's over, lovely. Make sure you pick up your staminas every time. Remember your staminas because it's so easy to forget them, and then you're down on supplies. So you can see there, haven't had to use a single stamina yet. Not stamina, sorry. Single.
Wow, aggro by name, hand by nature. He's a real hungry animal.
Yeah, single brew yet. Right, so now we're in Crondis. This particular challenge is a fun one, it's easy, once you know what you're doing. The main things you have to worry about are the green spots on the floor. So make sure you've got a space in your invent, pick up this water container, and then I'm going to show you the safe standing spots. If you start 3 squares away from where the spike is, including the spike, then you can just run straight across and the spike won't hit you, whatever happens. So it's only the green spots on the floor. And once you've got the waterfall, take 1 step back and then you're free away from the spike. Spikes can't hit you, just because of the way the pathing works. You can just run across the second there's no green damage on the floor. Crocodiles, if you've got freezes, freeze them, deal with them as quick as you can. I've still got a couple of magic levels before I can do any of that, so that's why I've not got my ancients. But so on the west side, on the southwest, stand in the middle of these blood splats, and then you can just run straight across the second there's no green. So I've taken my time with this to demonstrate it properly, but you can do this a lot faster, and if you do, you'll have less trouble with crocodiles. So yeah, you can see the crocodiles are already getting a tree. If you're fast, and you did all of that properly, didn't get all the green splats, then you'd be done here. So going north, same thing, just watch out for the green hit splats. 3 away from the damage, and you can just pass straight through those spikes. And that's it for the green goes again. I just don't do what I'm doing now. So you'll see there, that's one of the challenges with mobile. You do miss sometimes. It's not quite as accurate as clicking with the keyboard, with your mouse, all that jazz, but you just got to do what you got to do. Heal up off these crocodiles if you've got sand or anything like that. I'm always in mode gear in this game, so that you can say do your freezes if you've got essence, but also if you've got a sand you can heal up. So expect, realistically, that you're going to do a few misclicks. if you haven't been doing this on mobile, maybe bring an extra brew or something and just expect to do a little bit less efficient cooking. So, Crondis, I always start with a claw spec, but if you haven't got claws, just start in the best range gear. Start with Wriggle on, and then wait until you see your first attack. Oh, Zebak, say. There. So, sometimes the claws mess you up, so I'm not going to do it. So this is the range attack. The actual damage is registered when the attack hits you. So see the hit spot? That's mage, but the mage, you don't have to pray until then. With this particular move, I always walk up to these two jugs, pull one and attack it immediately, and then that will clear, usually, the poison, hit the one in front of it, and then just try and use the space that you've cleared of poison to avoid all this damage. Make sure you've got your protection prayers tab open. Because you're on mobile, it's harder to switch, so it's better to have it open when you're doing this bit. The important thing is that you solve it before you start pushing things. So the quickest solve for me was to push that diagonal into there. You want to make sure that whatever solve you're going to do to clear space for poison in front of these rocks is the most efficient, the quickest way you can do it is how you do it, and you just got to run and do it as fast as possible. Because if you get caught in that way, you're welcome. That's it, you're done. So, and this one's magic. The reason I was telling you when the actual hit splats hit you, I'll tell you in a second. I'm just showing you some pathing here. So you can pass over the poison diagonally, or you can pass it over like this, skip one step, and you won't be poisoned. So if you do need to and you're trapped, that's a good way of doing it. The reason I'm telling you about hit splats is about in the last quarter of health. So, in that situation I can't pull the one jug, so I'm going to hit the further one first. If you've got time, you can try and pull the other one. You kill yourself some more space, but you might not have time, so just focus on surviving the wave. Don't get too far from that chance. And yeah, on the last quarter of his health, it starts hitting much more fast. This is important because you need to know effectively how to pray. So the fastest solve for this is to push that jug straight into the other one or attack it. It clears the space all around. There you go. Jug's a good one. That's it. Just focus on prayers, keep attacking. And then there's a really easy way on his last quarter of his health, but then he starts attacking faster, which you'll see in a second. Really easy way to know exactly what you've got to be praying. So when the attack hits the top there and rebounds into you, that bit there, that's when you need to change your prayer. So this blood spawn, just come up to this corner and it will die off before it gets to you. If you've got the triple spawns, you might need to run a bit further to the east. Yeah, you see it's going really quick there. When it hits the top, that's when the previous attack's going to hit you. So whenever the next attack hits the top, say a range attack hits the top and then comes towards you and a mage attack comes, you need to be praying range when the mage attack hits the very top, because of the delay, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So don't pray the attack you can see, pray the last one. So this bit here, if you've got loads of supplies like I do now, choose power, because the salts are amazing, particularly...
Who are you? We are the knights who say... Ni! No, not the knights who say ni.
Particularly for hat. But they're useful for Apmeken as well, and also the special attack thing will help you clear these much faster. But if you're struggling, or if you're trying to do 150s or something, you can just keep taking life and getting more brews and supplies. It'll make your life a bit easier at the beginning. If you come in here with dragon or crystal pickaxe, you're going to have a much better time. It'll take 4 downs minimum with my level, something mining, I don't know exactly, with a bronze pickaxe, and I can do it in 2 downs with dragon. so it's much faster. The aim of this room is to just solve the puzzle as quickly as you can. Don't panic, nothing can hurt you if you stay away from the balls and the light. If you are standing on top of the space where a mirror is, then the light can't hurt you, it'll just reflect off you. You want to get the light to land on the eastern statue. So I always work it backwards in my head. Try and figure out exactly the route that's going to bring you to that. It's not always what it looks like. So this one here, I know now if I put a mirror on this southern tile that I'm about to stand on, then it will shoot through to the statue. Because there's two mirrors there, it's a bit confusing. I did fudge this up a little bit, but it only takes a few seconds to rectify it. So the mirrors that have a line on the back of them are the ones that you can pick up. And the ones that are completely smooth behind are not safe to be on. You can see there, if you're standing on the mirror, the light doesn't hurt you at all, so it's safe. So I've just got to correct that. I was supposed to put it one more tile to the west. Rotate the mirror till they're all facing the right way to get the light to hit the other statue. I always time this so that you've got the maximum amount of time to run to the barrel. Trying to destroy the seal. While you're mining this, if you can start mining the second that the light hits the other statue, then you'll get an extra sort of bonus. But I always know I can 2-down this, so even missing a tick or two there, that's fine. It's below half health now. I'll definitely do this on the next round. The higher your mining level, the better you can do this. You can do it in one round if you've got 99 mining and you've got like a dragon crystal pick. So that is what happens if the black sort of like light things hit you. Just do some damage. You float around, you can easily avoid them, especially if you've got a true tile marker on like I do. I know some people won't like that and they'll flame me for it, but when you're on mobile you need these little advantages, so it's a little bit harder to navigate. So sometimes you can use the mirrors that are already in place like there. The souls are usually easier than they look. You just gotta take a few seconds to think about it before you do anything. Make sure when you break this that you put your pickaxe back. Put your pickaxe back. Pick up your Saradomin brews, otherwise you're going to be really annoyed, you're going to waste the space the next time you come in to put a pickaxe in, or you're going to have to just do a fake run to come and put one in, and also you're going to lose a space for the rest of this run. So put your pickaxe back, pick up your brews, whatever you've dropped, and then we can go onto the boss. So this boss, I always start out with magic gear. If you haven't got any modifiers on, then what you have to pray changes. Basically you just got to click your protection prayer one to the left of whatever you're currently doing, and if you're on the far left then you just restart. You'll understand what I mean by that in a second. So I get my liquid adrenaline ready in assault. Have assault now. You can overbrew first if you want to, then use a restore, then salt. You need to be prepared to change your prayers. So he's going to start attacking with melee, and you're going to start attacking with mage. When he swaps his prayers shortly, he'll slam his staff down, his spear, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to change your prayers. You can change your prayer to the one to the left. So we're currently praying melee. We'll pray range next, and then he'll be attacking with melee. So no, sorry, he'll be attacking with range. He'll be weak to melee. You put your melee gear on, and then he'll be weak to range, and then he'll go back to magic. Vice versa. This particular movement there when you see the lights flashing up on either the fire, the lightning bolt, the skull, or the little diamond thing, you just got to stand in that quadrant. You can just be one square in, that's fine, but you've got to stand in that quadrant in the order that they flash up, and then wait for the attacks to happen all the way around. The statues facing out in the corners, you just got to kill them. Easy enough. Switches are pretty easy on mobile, not as bad as you'd think. You've got to keep them in the quadrant of the statue that you've currently killed, otherwise you can't do any damage. It just looks like a ghost. So he's currently shooting with red, which is mage. You just got to keep your eye on him. Every time he slams his staff, move your protection prayers one to the left like that. I went from magic to melee. Watching the floor to know where you got to stand. 2. He only really does this when he slams his staff down as well, so you know you've got to prepare for it. 4. Then we've got to attack one of these. You can see on his overhead prayers what he's weak to if you've forgotten the order it's in. But all you've got to do is remember, if you started on mage, you move to melee, then you move to range, then back to mage, in that order, rinse and repeat. Unless you've got certain invocations. So you can see there, he's not a ghost anymore, it means he's attackable. If you've got any specials in particular phases, like when he's weak to melee, like now, you can try and claw him. Speeds things along quite significantly. So like that, just using up the claws. I'd use the liquid adrenaline so I get more special effects out as well. So that's his range attack, it's like a little grey bolt. When Akkha's health completely runs out, it's going to go into a little mini melee phase with lots of little spam. You don't want to get hit by the spam if you can avoid it, and you want to spec him out as quickly as you can. He's only going to be able to be hit 3 times and then he'll transfer locations. So you see that now. He's off to a different quadrant. You've got to run to that quadrant, attack him 3 times with melee, and then he'll move to another one. If you get hit by any of these things, you get damaged quite a bit, which is fine if you get hit once, but if you start getting spammed by them, you can very quickly lose all your health. So make sure you stay, like, plenty of health. Don't get caught by them because they will get you very quickly. But that's all there is really to that. So the next puzzle, in my opinion, is the worst one. You want to get your blowpipe ready, get your range gear ready.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
And then we're good to go. So I've still got full supplies here. So if you're like me and you've still got brews, you've still got super restores and everything, then you've got to drop a couple of things, and then you've got to get hammers. You've got 1 hammer, and then you've got to go and pick up some potions from the other boxes. If you've got already free space, you can get them before you pass into this barrier. Now in theory, you need to make sure you're always repairing the roof and then the pillars. Then you also have to make sure that you're pouring the potion that you've just picked up into these vents. Whenever there's a red skull on either of them, you have to do those actions. In theory, you have to use melee on the red monkeys, range on the green ones, and mage on the blue ones. That's what they all are, and that's what they're going to be attacking you with too. If you need to use overhead prayers, you can. However, if you've got a blowpipe with decent darts in it, or if you've got a bofa, you can just sort of just go for it with this wave and just use those. It's not as efficient, and when you're in higher level raids, then you're going to need to be switching. But for the purposes of the entry level, you can just let it go. So you just saw an explosion there, that's the volatile baboons. Keep away from them, let them get up to you, and then just walk a couple of tiles away and you're fine. The ones that are trailing poisoned are the things you need to deal with the most, because they will poison you, and it's a venom type poison. You have to use 2 sips of anti-poison to get rid of it. Pretty terrible. We've got the shamans will summon these little blue ones, so the order you want to get rid of them is poison ones first, then get rid of the shamans, then if there's any volatile ones make sure you get away from them, and then just attack any of the other mobs in whatever order you want. If you've got blood barrage, then just stack things up and use it, and you can use it for heals. It's particularly good with the little blue monkeys. Very, very good if you do have that. Saves you a lot of effort. So you can see there's poison and a shaman. My priority is to kill the cursed baboon first. You can use blowpipe spec to heal up a little bit if you need to. And then after the cursed one's dead, I'm going to focus on the shamans. Don't get dragged into the poison. Use your bofa if there's a lot of it on the ground. If you don't have a bofa, just be careful of your pathing. Try and path, like I said earlier, the way that you can cross over, one step at a time, or diagonally. Make sure if the skulls that you're near the vents or near the pillars that you just get them sorted as quickly as you can. And you'll be grand. And basically this wave, it's just a war of attrition. If your health's running low, don't be worried to just drink up a brew. If you've got other means of healing, then by all means use them, but just don't let yourself die on this. It's just not worth it. Use a couple of supplies now, and then save some later. It's fine if you have infinite death set on and you're just learning the mechanics. You can just let yourself die and you'll get some food. If you haven't got on a diet on, you'll get these little scarabs that you can eat. So from that point of view, if you're just learning and you're not bothered, then don't waste your brews. But don't drink all of your brews in here, certainly. If you just need a couple of sips though to get through, then don't worry. So you see here, they're all stacked up nicely. If you've got barrage, you can just get a quick few heals off these guys and deal with them quickly. But the blowpipe is incredibly efficient at dealing with this particular type of bollocks. So you can see how quickly it just melts that massive crowd. And that's the end of the wave. Now we're on to Baba. I really like this boss, but particularly in entry mode. Again, don't forget your brews. But yeah, particularly in entry mode, I really like Baba. But in harder modes with more invocations on, he's very dangerous. Particularly if you've got the move turned on that just insta-kills you if you fall in the pit. It's not really worth having that invocation on, it's terrible. But yeah, just prep yourself. If you want to play it safe, you can just use your bofa if you've got one, or use range, but he's particularly weak to stab weapons. So if you've got the Fang, fantastic. If you've got a Zamihasta, that's great. If you're using like a Dragon Halberd or something, then I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, you need to just try and spec him out with your claws. Really good if you've got a more DDS, whatever, anything like that. If he gets down to a third health, he does this little move. You got to change to your range gear immediately and hit the damaged looking boulder. Now this is obviously a little bit harder on mobile because you're just playing with your thumbs, but it's fine. On PC, I'd like to run forwards and try and skip this wave. You can do it in 2, but just take your time and don't do that. Don't get cocky if you're not feeling comfortable with it on mobile, because it's not as responsive. And sometimes you lose a tick or two just by it being on mobile. And yeah, you don't want it to kill you. You can easily get through that wave if you're just patient. Put your max melee gear on again. So this attack on the floor is quite hard to dodge sometimes. So when you're fighting Baba like this, it's good to just move diagonally away. That attack, when you see it coming up on the floor, your best bet is to move diagonally to try and get away. When you see these rocks coming, you need to stand next to the boulders on the floor. If you're nowhere near a boulder and the rock's coming, then stand by a sarcophagus that's not open, and you'll take half damage, which is better than taking the full amount. But honestly, the rocks on the floor are going to save you a lot more. So the sarcophagus tip and the tip about where to stand in the Crondis room for the puzzle room were by one of the viewers, which is fantastic. I'm going to check with him that he's alright with them, so if they're alright with me putting the name, and if they are, I'll put it down in the comments section or in the video description or something, say who it was, give them some props. So again, I ran away from the rock there, which is stupid, so it probably would have been better to go to a sarcophagus, but I was lucky there, and I was standing by the rock on the right tick. This is pretty much it, really, for Baba. Just don't get hit by the floor things, which is easy to do if you're just standing still. Move around, make sure you're moving diagonally. Stand by the rocks when they're there, but keep an eye out for the floor. And be ready for the range things, that's all you got to do. So now, we're on to the second ghost, helpful spirit thing. At this point, we need some more supplies, so go with life. You need that ambrosia. Don't use your ambrosia until the very, very end, if you can avoid it. I like to pull them out now and have them ready. Just start sort of resupplying. Ready for the Wardens.
Danger! High voltage!
So this boss is a lot of fun, but there's particular challenges with it. If you like to activate the East Warden, then start on the West at this particular stage. If you like to activate the West Warden, start on the East. I always go East and activate the West Warden because it doesn't melee you. It will just stand in the corner and you can switch between Rage and Mage prayers. If you haven't got the no food invocation on, then take out a bandage now. Drink liquid ambrosia, liquid adrenaline. Drink, take a salt so that you've got maximum amount of specs you can do. If you've got a DDS, you'll be able to do 8. If you've got claws, you can do 4. As long as you've drunk your liquid adrenaline. Prepare yourself, put on your prayers so you can do as much damage as possible. And then when you start it, you've got to run to the east and stand in front of the balls that come out. Because you're going to be tanking damage now, I pop the bandage, which just passively heals me, and I won't have to worry about taking the damage. As you can see here, claws absolutely decimate this bit, to the point that it actually kind of made the guide harder because the UFOs only pop up for 1 second, but change to your stab weapon and then just stab it out. So this first UFO, if you've been taking the damage from the balls, it appears like that, the red one, and then a yellow one appears in all of the safe spots. Just don't stand under the lights. If you don't tank any of the damage from the balls, then the whole room fills up with UFO stuff, and that's a load of bollocks. So, change into your mage gear straight away, run to this far corner, put augury on, and then just watch for whatever attacks he's doing. So you're not walking up to me and meleeing, you're fine. The grey skulls are range. This thing on the floor here, when you're in the corner, the second you see it approaching you, you can run through it. So not now. When it's in this position, click through it, and you'll run through it, take no damage. It's fine. That white arrow there, it will turn the prayer off, and you need to flick back onto range. There's a blue ball for mage, and a red sword for melee. So the red skull is the standard mage attack. When it gets to this stage, the core, you've got to attack it as much as possible. I always just use all my claw specs and then just spec it out with max melee gear on. Okay, so that's a mage attack, the red skull. You have to be ready when he stands up. That's a range attack. So you can see here, I took a few hits. I'll probably use my other bandage. If you don't have bandages, you can sip some brews. Try and heal up with your sang staff, but currently in the range phase. So he starts on mage phase, and then you have to range when he gets back up. Then when we attack his core now, and know that it's going to be a mage phase when he gets back up again, it just alternates between mage and rage, mage and rage. So I'll put all my mage gear on, and I'll attack him with mage in the next phase. When I down him again, attack him with range, and then etc, etc. Just do as much damage as you possibly can to the core, and then back in the corner. He sometimes kicks out these little black lump attacks that just moved a couple of tiles. If you click roughly anywhere to the east, you'll move out of the way of those ones, they'll be fine. That one, there. So you just click, move away, won't hit you, no worries. If it does hit you, it locks you in place. This V floor thing, if you're in this corner, it just misses you, you can't get hit. No worries, so just focus on praying the correct prayers in this particular floor phase. Spec him out. Now I wasn't quite lucky with this bit. You'll see what I mean in a minute, but didn't quite get the kill off that I was hoping. So there's one more phase coming up. If you haven't brought any melee gear like bandos, but you've got full crystal, just keep the crystal on when you melee, and then flick onto your bofa or whatever range weapon you're using. Keep the crystal on when you're in the range phase. So floors in that place now, move across, take no damage, no dramas. Keep shooting, don't get hit by the black ones. Play range, easy. And he's dead, one more hit. This next phase, just don't panic, that's all I can say. If you're on Insanity, totally different ball game, but on easy mode, just don't panic, you're fine. Watch how much time you've got to move. So what I do at this point, I take my time, take one step, open your supplies, take a supply out, take one step, have a little look at your inventory, take a step, open up your thing, take out a supply, take a step, and you can just stock up, sort out your inventory until you're comfortable with it. You're not going to take any damage. Just make sure you prioritise moving, always prioritise moving, and then if you need to do an action, that's fine. If you want to change your prayers, just do one action, move, open your thing, take out a resource, move, and then you can start attacking whenever you're ready. Whack rigor on, start using your best range weapon, and just keep moving. So you know at this point there's nothing else to worry about but movement, and he's about to start a phase that you have to put your melee weapon on. So put your best stab weapon on, but you can just use the defender if you want, whatever you can see. Make sure you know where it is. The second that he puts his overhead prayers on like that. So click on your weapon and then try and attack diagonally if you can, like that. It's faster. If you're attacking up and down, you'll do less damage. So that diamond one, realistically, you want to work your way around in a circle. As long as you're attacking diagonally, it'll be faster. On easy mode, on entry mode, you always start attacking where you need to be on the west. So now, because we've chose the one particular warden that did, we've got our alligator boy attacking us. So the other warden will have an easier thing to pray against, because you only have to switch your prayers every 3 attacks, and you just got to sort of vaguely keep your eye on which one, but his attacks are so slow, so telegraphed, it's fine. Once Baba spawns, you need to keep moving, but it only has to be 1 tile. You can see a shadow on the floor where his rock's going to fall. So just keep an eye, half an eye on what you've got to pray, make sure you keep moving, move at least 1 tile. If you're going to be on the same spot for a while, like then, because he's not charged his attack yet, just go north or south a tile until you have the path that you need to be doing with the floors. Stay away from the slowly falling rock. Keep half an eye on prayer. At this point in the fight, always keep your prayer tab open because you're on mobile. If you need food, you can sort it out, but your most important thing is that you need to be praying right and not taking any damage. Deal with these as they come, they keep getting bigger and bigger. This one in particular, I missed the skull there, and this shows you exactly what happens if you miss a tick. This is far worse on Insanity because it'll kill you, but you can't hide anyway, you just take damage. If you're struggling with standing on the floor, if you stand right on the very back row, you get an extra tick to react. Just to give you a little bit of an edge. So once he drops down to that health, he heals up, and the floor starts ripping apart. This looks chaotic, but don't worry, honestly, it's fine. Keep your inventory open, and just path. So look where the floor's going to be clear. Where you see a shadow, don't stand there, and just click on a free tile, and keep clicking on free tiles. They're fine. If your health gets low, eat an ambrosia, and just keep attacking the warden at the back, and standing on clear tiles. You haven't even really got to worry about praying at this point. You can do if you feel like you've got time, but just focus very much on keeping your health up and clicking on clear tiles, clicking on the boss. Click on clear tiles, click on the boss. Job's a good one. Easy kill, easy game. No purple though. I can't really complain. I've got a Fang on 10 KC, so I'm 300 mil up, but it's very much worth doing if you've only got access to mobile. I always put a few things back in there just to make sure I've got 3 slots at least to get my loot. But you can just drop any of that shit now. It's going to delete anyway. Any of the stuff that you've obtained in the raid, just don't drop your actual brews. Yeah, it's really worth doing on mobile. It only takes sort of 30-40 minutes once you get your head in it and you're doing it quickly. Don't be put off thinking that you're going to be at a disadvantage, because it's completely doable. You can do it with worse gear, you can do it with better gear, anything can be upgraded or downgraded. You can use Blessed Dragon Hide or whatever you've got, you know.